Have an inkling as to what this event was. Why don't you tell us about it, and let's talk about the implications of the gun safety votes that were taken last week.
Sure. Well, this event was related to that. A group of us, which included Credo, Move On, Occupy the NRA, Every Child Matters, and others, we came to the conclusion that that after what occurred, that people need to start being held accountable for what's going on in Washington. I know that's a novel idea. The legislators are getting called out, as they should get called out, and they will continually get called out, like forever. And so does that clown buffet known as the NRA. Wayne LaPierre and the gang of thieves. But there are people that sort of slide around the shadows and do their dirty work, and nobody ever says their names out loud and says who they are. And we decided that there's no accountability for them. And of course, in this case, there's others. But in this particular case, we're talking about the lobbyists for the NRA. And so we held an event in McPherson Square in Washington, D.C. in the park, where a number of us got up and spoke. And we had some pretty cool signs, and sadly we had the mother of a 16-year-old who was gunned down in a drive-by shooting in Washington, to call out the lobbyists for the NRA, and make sure everybody knows who they are, and what they're doing, and how essentially for their 30 pieces of silver they are more than willing to go and allow your kids to get killed. And we started off doing that. And then we ended up marching on each of their headquarters, the ones that were on K Street. So this would be the C2 Group, Prime Policy Group, Crossroads, Forbes, Tate, Greenberg, Traurig. Who am I missing? Shockey Schofield. And friends.
Now these are all now on K Street. Now these lobbyists, they'll work on both sides of the aisle. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these lobbyists actually, a lot of these lobbyists who work at these places are Democrats, or theoretically they're Democrats. And so, you know where the overwhelming feelings are on this issue in the Democratic Party. And these guys get to go about their business and make their money, their blood money, and then they still get to go to their nice little cocktail parties at night and nobody knows exactly what they're doing during the day. Who they're lobbying for. They also have other groups they lobby for, which we made sure to make some signs making these companies aware, companies and organizations that probably wouldn't be down with knowing that their lobbyist is also an NRA lobbyist. And we're going to be doing a further action next week where we're going to be tweeting at them and calling them and making sure they know these other folks. This includes people like Amazon and Google and Allstate, as well as people you wouldn't expect would hire a lobbyist at the NRA would hire, Cedars-Sinai Hospital, the American Psychological Association, which came out in favor of all of the gun legislation, including the assault weapons ban, as well and the magazine limit. And so we just think that they should know how we all feel about the fact that they're willing to employ these people that are willing to get our kids killed for money.
So essentially, in some respects, this action is not. I mean, it follows the same theory as almost the dump rush program, where it's basically like you are supporting the actions. A firm that is taking your money is also taking money from the NRA, and you are necessarily tied into this group if you're going to use these lobbyists.
That's right. I mean, it's the similar idea, and the NRA. We've already done this with some of the NRA's corporate partners, and a number of them have pulled out. Wine companies, others that had wine tastings with NRA members, very sexy stuff, and some of the ones the big hedge fund Cerberus decided they were I don't even know if they've gotten through the process of selling their NRA shares, but they didn't want to own any NRA,
right.
Or not NRA, I'm sorry, gun manufacturer companies anymore, shares in these companies. I mean,
now, Cerberus, now we should say the background on that story is sort of fascinating because it turns out the head of that huge fund his father-in-law lived in Newtown. Is that right, or something like that?
I think that's correct. Yeah,
And
I think you're correct about that.
And in the wake of that shooting at Sandy Hook, they came out and of course, you know, I forgive me for being cynical, folks, but I imagine that if had the father-in-law lived in Darien, this may not have been an issue. But
No, you're right. I mean, it may not have been, and maybe there was pressure on him because of it. But another thing, I mean, look, there's something that just came out the other day, and we're working on some of these things. General Electric has now pulled money; they're not financing gun purchases because of what happened. So GE Capital Finance, who provide consumer financing for new gun shop customers, is not doing that anymore. It's not gonna affect a huge number of retailers. But the point is that, whether it's retailers pulling assault weapons from their shelves, whether it's these guys who are invested in the gun companies pulling their money out, whether it's corporate partners of the NRA moving away, whether it's lobbyists who do this stuff, who lobby for them, these are all people that enable the National Rifle Association and their sick right-wing militia enabling agenda. And we're going to make sure that people know who they are. I mean, they're going to have to stand up and explain why it is why, how much that money is worth to them, and why they're willing to prop up the NRA. So this was the first of many actions to come.
Well,
luckily, go ahead.
Well, we have a link at majority.fm to the pictures of what was happening at that action, including the picture of you speaking. Were you down there in? You're still affiliated with Mayors Against Illegal Guns, or?
No, I was doing this on my own.
Okay.
I got together with the groups to help them organize and do press for this.
Okay.
So this was not connected to Mayors Against Illegal Guns. Mayors Against Illegal Guns concentrates on legislation and legislators, and this is obviously some moves in other directions beyond that, and I wanted to be involved in some things they're not doing. So this was me.
Let's talk about the moves against legislatures, and there was a piece midweek. Well, I should say a poll that came out by the Pew that purports to show that while there is wide support for gun safety laws, we're talking, and by wide I'm talking virtually unparalleled in any other issue. I mean, we're talking 90% of the public who supports expanded background checks. Similar numbers even for NRA members. The Pew poll purports to show that there is more intensity amongst those who are afraid of gun safety legislation, let's say, than those who support it. Give me your thoughts on that. I've seen other places where other polls have contradicted that, but at the very least, it certainly, and we spoke about this, I think, last week, there is certainly that perception anyways, and sometimes that's more important than the reality in terms of dictating where a legislator is going to vote when coupled with significant funding to support that vote.
That's correct, and let's be clear. It is a perception issue, and that's a problem. And more recently, and I think it was a reality 10 years ago. It's no longer a reality. I saw that Pew poll, and I've seen others that contradict what that says. So I'm not one. I'm not one of these guys on the right who claims any poll they don't like is necessarily false. But I'm just saying I've seen others that contradict it, and so I would need more evidence. And I guess I can only speak anecdotally that there's so many people involved now in this issue. I mean, the progressive groups, Public Campaign and Credo and Move On, all these groups that were with us the other day speaking, they weren't engaged, not to say anything negative about them. This just wasn't an issue that really was on most progressives' radar. They were not engaged in this issue in the past, and so many progressive groups are, and now it's become something where this is almost becoming like a litmus test. If you don't support background checks, you're going to have a lot of trouble in a Democratic primary.
And there was the same, simultaneously, the Washington Post ABC News poll said that just under a third said they could not vote for a candidate who disagreed with them on guns, even if they agreed on other issues. The number is exactly the same in gun households and in non-gun households, which suggests that the intensity is matched on both sides.
That's what I'm saying, Sam. Look, again, people can think I'm spinning. They can think whatever. I can only tell you my honest, as an analyst, being objective about it. Again, I've seen this for years and working on this, and I've never seen anything like. I'm not just talking about December and January, right after Newtown. Again, we're not in the same space. We're not. The people who came out to the march yesterday and said they had never been politically active before, and they're looking. The friends of mine who contact me, who aren't even Democrats or anything, just aren't politically active, who are like, "What can I do?" Hell, I've got friends who are sort of Republican financial types who are doing the same. I think that again, it's a lot harder than these guys would wish it to be to get the image of 26-year-olds being slaughtered out of people's heads. And knowing that whatever we do, any one gun control measure doesn't necessarily prevent any one massacre, but that's some stupid, test that the right made up, because I don't know that we do that with anything else besides guns.
Right.
I don't know that we should do it with every law. Well, when we passed laws saying you couldn't hit somebody, you couldn't kill somebody, I guess that was supposed to have stopped 100% of murders, and somehow it didn't do it. So we might as well scrap those laws. Stephen Colbert handled that brilliantly. I don't know if you saw that segment with one of these gun nuts, who was the head of one of these organizations in Virginia, when he got the guy all twisted up, because when the guy said, well, it won't stop everything, so we shouldn't do it. So he's like, so you mean we should get rid of all laws against crack cocaine because it doesn't stop 100%? And the guy's like, well, maybe not. And then, of course, the gig was up. And so I just would say there's a lot more intensity. I've seen it. I've seen it in many other polls. It would be like during the election last year. If you believed Gallup the whole time, Romney would be president right now.
Right.
And I'm not trying to compare Pew completely to that, but I just don't think that's accurate from everything else that I've seen. There's a lot of intensity, and sadly, some of the intensity is because of the mass coverage of this and how insane that vote was and everything. But some of it's because really just every day, more and more people are coming into contact with this. They were hoping this would just be an urban problem, and it's just not. More and more people are knowing people that have been negatively affected, have been hurt, have been killed, because this is spread out to the suburbs and the exurbs and places, and they can't contain this in the cities, and that's where these guys eventually are going to lose, because when you know people who are innocent, who've been harmed or killed because of our lax gun laws, it changes you inevitably.
And this is, I'll tell you, this is what is sort of, I don't even know if you've seen this Quinnipiac poll released today. Pat Toomey versus versus
Kelly Ayotte. That's such an important poll.
Yeah,
yes.
This is Toomey now has the highest approval rating of his entire Senate term. He's of course a Republican from Pennsylvania. In 1 month, his approval rating spiked from 43% to 48%. Meanwhile, Kelly Ayotte, who, of course, was one of the legislatures, Toomey, we should say, co-sponsored the gun safety legislation that would have expanded background checks as, sort of watered down as it was, would have at least moved the ball forward somewhat. Ayotte opposed this, and Ayotte's approval rating dropped by 15 points, according to the Public Policy Polling Survey. She had won her initial Senate race by 23 points in 2010, and now it's according to this poll, she would lose a re-election fight against the Democratic governor, Maggie Hassan, if the election were held today. So there's at least some indication, and it's tough to directly measure the causality of this, but there's some indication, and again, it may be just a correlation when you're talking about perception being the buzzword of the day. This is important in terms of of this fight. Now, so what
Right.
is
And what's important here, and I won't look, I won't say that I know that it's 100% due to their positions on guns. I have to think that's one of the biggest things that's happened recently, and that plays a big role in it. But I think the best thing about the fact that they chose those two is because those two are very comparable. Those two are conservatives
right?
that were elected in sort of center-left states that Democrats win for president in the wave of 2010, where really during most other election times, had they been up against somebody tough, they probably wouldn't have prevailed because they're too conservative for the states they're sitting in. And Pat Toomey did one thing, and Kelly Ayotte did something else. And I mean, so I think in that way, these are people that have to if they want to win re-election, are going to have to do that with a Democrat at the top of the ticket in 2016, who will likely carry their states. They're going to have to go against that trend. And that's why it's a pretty big deal.
So give me a sense of what is the. I mean, I presume that there is at least some type of long-term strategy here, right? I mean, there's no perception that that we're going to see any legislation. Certainly not in the next year and a half before the 2014 election, is there? I mean, so this is a long-term project now.
I think so. I mean, look, there was an article in the New York Times today that said that Manchin and Toomey were still working on it in the hope that some of the things like we've just talked about and seeing some of the polling results and some of the, we don't know 100% what got Max Baucus to drop out, but right away, Mayors Against Legal Guns started hitting him with ads across his state and making it clear they were going to spend money against him. And he was used to having relatively easy re-elections, and maybe he didn't want to deal with that. I think that some of the fallout, which I don't see why these guys couldn't predict from watching some of the things that have happened in Chicago and other places in the race that was there, but they're not smart enough to realize that. And there's talk that Mayors Against Legal Guns might spend over the next couple of months ads hitting Mark Pryor in Arkansas. So I mean, the talk is that maybe they loosen things a little bit so that people who live very far away in rural areas, maybe they could bring in Mark Begich or Lisa Murkowski. I don't know. There is talk about that, and then the other one that still perplexes me, which was the gun trafficking bill that somehow only got 58 votes, about maybe Kelly Ayotte joining them on that. I mean, my guess is she's going to want to join in something. So I won't say that they definitely won't come up again, because both those bills do have a shot at getting to 60 because of what's going on. But I would guess less likely than more likely, right? And then the long-term strategy is exactly what we're talking about here. I mean, if you've seen the sort of the large amount of advertisements, whether they be in newspapers, whether they're whether the articles that have been written, the video that Occupy put out slamming Heidi Heitkamp that you may have seen. I mean, this just isn't going away. And it's going to be constant, and it's going to target them through 2014. And if they think it's going away, they're just fooling themselves, because there's a lot of people. Some of them have stepped forward, Ken Lehrer, and Bill Daley, and other people who said they won't give any funds to anyone who who voted wrong on this on the Democratic side. And then there's pressure on the Republican side again on some of these people that are going to need to win, particularly the ones in 2016, against the tide of a Democratic presidential candidate.
When Bill Daley is the one who is mad about a vote that goes in this way, you've got a problem. I mean, this is the guy who basically still walks around saying, like, I really am disappointed in Al Gore for putting up such a fight over that 2000 election.
Exactly. I mean, that to me is the point, right? When you have the same week, essentially, Bill Daley of the establishment corporate Democrats, literally like maybe the charter member almost, just behind like Bob Rubin, writing so that he's disappointed, that he wants his money back, that he's not going to support Heidi Heitkamp. And in that same couple days, Occupy the NRA puts out a video showing when Heidi Heitkamp claimed that it's extreme what's going on, that 94% of her own constituents supported background checks, and actually she's lining herself up with Ted Nugent and Alex Jones, Glenn Beck, that's who the people are who are extreme, and that's where her position is. So you've got Occupy and Bill Daley going after the same person. That's generally a pretty good sign that everybody hates you.
Yeah, that's a bad. There's not much left. I don't know who falls out of those parameters, right? I mean, I honestly, like, it's almost impossible to imagine who's left after that.
If you can unite Bill Daley and Occupy,
Right.
wow, you've accomplished something, haven't you?